everybody. I hope you guys had an amazing Monday. We have a beautiful Tuesday night. Obviously, every night is so beautiful. If you have, loved ones, family, friendship, bam. That's kind of the recipe for you know, for a successful, you know, everyday life, in my opinion. But, move past that. Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Tonight we have a pretty great show for you today. We have our Monday Night Raw review. We're going to talk about our WWE NXT Spring Breakin preview, as well as we're going to move on and talk about AEW Dynasty. It was actually a pretty I watched highlights from a couple matches, especially the Will Ospreay and Daniel Bryan matchup. Very, very good. Kind of unfortunate ending, but found out today it was all kayfabe and it was all. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Ultimately I was concerned about Bryan Danielson, after that match. And we're gonna end it with our with WWE Draft talk. We're talking about the top prospects that are going to be drafted to either Monday Night Raw, NXT, or Friday Night SmackDown. Do they even call it Friday Night SmackDown anymore? I don't know, but it just rolls off the tongue. Also, guys, remember to use the tips and donations link at the GSMC podcast.net. We get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your question gets read on air in front of the millions worldwide, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the with your at the GSMC podcast.net with your question. Put your question on top. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to further talk about. Give me your opinions, your projected storylines, and also just all things wrestling. I'm very excited to talk to you guys whenever, all the time. And it really helps the show, guys. A nice little positive review over at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity. So again, the link is to gsmcpodcast.net. All right, so let's go ahead and dig right on into it. We're going to talk about our Monday Night Raw review. It was a very good Monday Night Raw, not bad. It's kind of the last one heading into the WWE Draft. So essentially, this might be the last time you kind of see some of these superstars on Monday Night Raw. It all depends. I have hopes that I think the Judgment Day is going to stay on Raw. I kind of thought about it at first. I was kind of like, what, if Damian Priest is kind of over, I doubt that they're going to keep him on Monday Night Raw by everybody. But ultimately, I just think that I think it's going to be pretty awesome. No matter where the Judgment Day goes, but I don't know, it should be pretty interesting. So let's start off. Monday Night Raw started off with main event Jey Uso. Um, Damian Priest came out and he said he acknowledges Jay. I thought it was kind of funny how he said, "I acknowledge, you." Like kind of like a hidden jab because of the whole, between him and his cousin and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty funny. And he told that he told Jey Uso that him and Jay were respected, and which they are. They are respected in the community. Obviously, when they made the jump back into like main events, people love seeing Jey Uso. You see the yeets, yeet, 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 and of course you have Damian Priest who's heading toward a babyface role right now. Can't wait to see what they do with that. So he said he was proud to stand in the ring with him. He was showing some pretty good respect. Of course, starting off, and then the trash talking started to begin, and that comes natural. That comes natural. Like even if you're even if you're a baby face, you still can, you still have to trash talk your opponent. You have to show some kind of confidence. You have to show some kind of assertiveness, and you just need to be like ready to defend the title, like whenever. But I thought it was kind of cool how they kind of like got in the ring and spoke like man to man. Damian Priest ultimately said like, "I'm the one, like you're not the one." Just friendly banter, friendly. But when he did say that, I was like, "Whoa!" And then when Jay was like, "You're only the leader now because Rhea's gone," and I was like, "Whoa!" Like it was pretty cool. It was a pretty cool segment, and I kind of liked how it's kind of set something up. So maybe like toward the future, you're gonna see Jey Uso and Damian Priest go at it back and forth, kind of like Triple H and The Rock did back in the Attitude Era. So setting something up. Of course, JD McDonough came out. He ultimately tried to do right by Damian Priest in the Judgment Day. Ultimately, it's kind of bad. Damian Priest ended up getting knocked down by Jay's super kick. So Damian Priest wasn't happy. He really wasn't happy. He told Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough, like, you guys need me, I don't need you. And that's big. That's big. That was kind of like probably going to be the last thing to kind of set it off here. It's only a matter of time until something happens where Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio kind of find a way to edge Damian Priest out of the Judgment Day. So, should be pretty interesting to see where that goes. Next, we have our WWE World Tag Team Championship match between DIY and the Awesome Truth. It was a really good match. It was pretty cool. I honestly thought DIY was going to come out the victors, but ultimately, The Miz and Ron the Truth Killings were able to put something together and defend their titles successfully heading toward the draft, which is, pretty cool. I kind of wanted to see what they were going to do with DIY. I kind of have a little bit of a hint what they're planning to do. Have like Tommaso Ciampa kind of be more of a heel because at the end of the match, The Miz and Truth extended their hand for a handshake, and he didn't shake their hand, showing just absolute attitude and a little bit of disrespect. But Tommaso Ciampa was obviously upset after the match. Usually, when you think of tag team division competitors, the Awesome Truth isn't really your average everyday competitors in terms of the tag team division. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa DIY. I thought they kind of deserved the championship belts here, but who knows? Next, we have Santos Escobar switching for Dom. Dominic Mysterio is wearing an arm sling. I don't know if he's injured or it's just kayfabe, especially after what happened on AEW Dynasty. How it was hook, line, and sinker, thinking that Brian Danielson was absolutely like and for real injured. But I don't know. It would kind of make sense. It would honestly kind of make sense. I don't know if they're trying to do like a storyline because later on in the show you did see Dominic Mysterio come face to face with Liv Morgan, ultimately kind of setting up maybe like a betrayal on Rhea Ripley with Liv Morgan, and maybe being Dom's new mommy or some shit or some stuff like that. Like but ultimately, it looked pretty interesting. They had a nice little stare down. Sometimes something means nothing. Sometimes nothing means something. That's a phrase that I heard like a little sometime, and I was like, I didn't really get it until you start watching like things that portray drama on TV, and you're like, oh, okay, now it kind of makes sense. Kind of makes sense. Um, it was kind of crazy. Damian Priest is not happy with the Judgment Day. No está contento con Judgment Day. I think it's pretty much over. Like I said, it's been 2.5 years of the Judgment Day. They won their titles, they had their fun, they had their dominance over the brand, and I think ultimately it's time to move on. He said straight up, like, stay out of my business to JD, and of course Dominic was trying to defend his bro. I was like, dude, we're just trying to help, like, you know what I mean? But Damian Priest is like kind of on an island all by himself here. He's getting pushed massively. He's the world's heavyweight champion, and right now he can't really do anything that could jeopardize his title reign. With Jey Uso coming up at Backlash, Jey Uso's a competitor. He's main event Jey Uso. And you saw him defeat Finn Balor last Monday night on Raw. He ain't playing around. He's not playing around. And obviously WWE, they're writing and creative. They have big things for Jay. So should be pretty interesting. Next, we have Gunther returns. Ultimately kind of put his flag in the ground, saying that he could go back and try to attack Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental. He could go for the United States. He can go for any title that he wants, but he just wants the competition to be aware that he's hunting them. He's hunting them. He's going after them. He's going to try to do everything in his power to get a title back around his waist. He knows how to win a title and he knows how to hold a title. So Gunther out there kind of being like the free agent of champions is a little nerve-wracking. But ultimately he kind of put his stake in the King of the Ring. So King of the Ring ultimately is going to make its way back to the WWE, which is pretty exciting. I really liked when they did the King of the Ring, to be honest. And of course, when you bring out, the King of the Ring, you get former King of the Ring, King Xavier Woods. I remember when he was the King of the Ring, and he actually did a really, really good job of like promos and like coming out and just bantering and just I don't know. He was a good king. He was a good king. Hopefully he's back to back, but who knows with Gunther out there, it's gonna be hard. I don't know. I just thought it was pretty. I love it when the New Day comes out because whenever they come out, you know that you're in for just something to smile about, something to smile about, something to get excited for. Like Gunther was like, you know what? Because you guys came out here and disrupted me, you're gonna have to face Kaiser and Giovanni, and then freaking Xavier Woods was like, "No, no, no, we already fought them already." Like, because they have fought the New Day, Giovanni and Kaiser. They have fought them countlessly, a countless amount of times, and it's to the point where like it's like they kind of spoke for the WWE Universe because once when Gunther was kind of hinting at that, I was like thinking to myself, I was like, really? I was like, how is this gonna solve anything? These guys are gonna fight like 37 times, and it's gonna be just the same thing over and over again. But I don't know. It was it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. I liked how they were just classic old school New Day. I be I guess their new phrase is beat your cheeks BYC, which was hilarious. I laughed my cheeks off. And then after the match, you saw Ludwig Kaiser attacking Giovanni Vinci. Like that's obviously something that Gunther was happy about and impressed about because the moment that Kaiser went backstage, he was nothing but smiles, congratulatory. And I just felt bad for Vinci. I was like, oh man. Usually when a tag team like that breaks up, that's when you kind of see one of the superstars kind of, go a little over and the other one kind of like heading toward maybe potentially a release or going down to NXT. Who knows? So I don't know that should be interesting. Something that I kind of noticed, I was very observant once when Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci went at it. You ultimately saw Jason Jordan come out and try to help uh, Giovanni Vinci, and I thought to myself, I was like, "Oh my God, like that's crazy! You see Jason Jordan." If you don't know, you know, like Jason Jordan, he had so much potential, but once again, you can have the best body in the world. You can be the fittest, most agile, have good stamina endurance, but some people's bodies aren't made for wrestling. And ultimately, it was Jason Jordan that'll, he couldn't wrestle. You know, he had I believe it was a knee injury. I believe it was a knee injury. So next, we have Drew McIntyre coming out to address the WWE Universe. So he basically, well, one of the things I thought was cool because the crowd, that's their thing. Whenever they kind of want to get under someone's skin, they just say, "What? What?" And he's like, "Oh, say what if you kiss your own cousin?" And they're like, "What?" And he was like, "You guys are sick." Like, I don't know. I just thought that was hilarious. I thought that was super funny. Drew McIntyre is a good heel. I know for the longest time I thought like he belonged like in the babyface category, but I don't know, he's doing a pretty darn good job as the heel for WWE Raw. So, he just kept talking about CM Punk. He kept talking about other superstars getting in his way, Damien Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank, ultimately kind of sitting in the ring and kind of feeling sorry for himself. And his buddy for 20 long years, yeah, you saw Sheamus came out and like kind of cheer him up, try to cheer him up a little bit, kind of like, slap him in the face and be like, look, like, bro, like you're not going to go anywhere if you continue to just feel sorry for yourself and blame people for, your problems. And Sheamus was right. Sheamus was 1,010% right because he did bring up, and it's ultimately true, that you went up to CM Punk and you tried to instigate a fight knowing damn well that Damian Priest is lurking backstage with that Senior Money in the Bank contract. So, in a way, you kind of have to think that Drew McIntyre kind of let his emotions get the best of him at WrestleMania, which it did, and it ultimately cost him the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. So that's something that Sheamus kind of brought to his attention. Didn't want Drew sulking all the time. So yeah, it was also funny how Drew McIntyre told like Sheamus it went from you going from banger to banger to banger, from burger to burger to burger, mentioning his, how when he came back to the WWE, he wasn't as fit as he was leaving, or like, something like 5 years ago. So I don't know. I just thought that, Drew McIntyre, even Sheamus acknowledged it and smiled and laughed. And he was like, "You're getting better at this. You're getting better at being on the mic and just trash talking," which is good for Drew McIntyre, especially with his future in the WWE. He's still a young guy. He can still very much be the young guy, still very much be that like that permanent heel, and eventually, and it's, here and there he could be babyface, yeah, but he could be that like that permanent heel, kind of like what Triple H was back in the Attitude Era and the the McMahon Helmsley era. So honestly, I think that kind of suits him pretty well. All right, well, next you saw Shinsuke Nakamura come out and fight Sheamus. Sheamus ultimately got the victory, but it lasted 3 commercials, which I was kind of shocked about, and I was like, oh, I think that's kind of cool. I think that's cool how you're letting Sheamus kind of get the ropes a little bit, and it's crazy. Like last week, he did seem a little chubby, but this week it looked like he looked good. He looked very very good. It's crazy. Like I don't know what he did in a week to work out and lose that tummy or whatever, but hey, like, send some tips this way, man. So I thought the next we talked about, and next you saw Sami Zayn being attacked by Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed ultimately basically saying that he's going to fight Sami Zayn. He's the next challenger for the Intercontinental Champion. Just kind of playing that role where he's the antagonist and he ultimately wants to see Sami Zayn's demise. And then what happened next? You saw Chad Gable. Chad Gable, he came out with the Alpha Academy. There was, things on the Pat McAfee show about Charles Barkley saying the comments like, um, I think I did a short about this on YouTube, basically saying that you can't beat someone in front of their family. That's just bad. That's just bad karma. And I agree. I agree 110%. And Charles Barkley was like, I was ready to fly up there that day and beat Chad Gable, beat Chad Gable up. And like I don't know, I just thought that was pretty cool how you see someone like in the NBA spotlight with Charles Barkley not afraid to kind of announce his fandom as a WWE fan. So I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Next, Chad Gable, he said that what he did was justified. Sami Zayn was asking for it, saying that he raised the title in front of his face, saying that it should have been him. He wasted his time training a bunch of losers. And then, of course, you saw Tozawa and you saw Maxine Dupree and you also saw Otis. And he just laid on into him. Like, it was crazy. Like, there's a way to pump people up. And I think Michael Cole said this. There's a way to kind of motivate people, but that's not the way, man. That's not the way. What are you doing? You're doing this to your friends, like Chad. Like, what's up? So I felt bad because he really like laid into these guys, and ultimately at the end they said they're gonna help Chad Gable get the Intercontinental Championship no matter what. So interesting times ahead in terms of Chad Gable's career. All right, next we have Andrade and Ricochet tag teaming against JD McDonough and Santos Escobar. We kind of saw this coming with Andrade and Ricochet winning, but the main thing was Damian Priest came out. He just took out Ricochet at will, took out Andrade. Basically, putting his stake in the ground, saying that nobody could hang with this stuff right now. Not Ricochet, not Andrade, obviously not any of the other persons lurking backstage. So pretty good promo, kind of showing the strength of Damian Priest and how he could really, honestly, he doesn't need anybody. All right, and to kind of end it all, we had our WWE Women's World Championship Battle Royal. This match was about 30 minutes long. Pretty good, pretty good. Obviously, you saw Candice LeRae and Eddie Hartwell go out first. Kind of, heartbreaking, very heartbreaking. I was anticipating, honestly, some kind of shock value. And like every single time I was watching the TV, I was just like waiting. I was waiting for just something. I was waiting for Alexa Bliss's music to pop or something like it. Then nothing ever happened. Nothing happened at all. And well, no, not nothing happened at all. Obviously, there was a match. It was a good match. It was a nice little battle royal. Ultimately, Becky Lynch was able to do it. Her and Liv Morgan eliminated the irresistible Force Nia Jax. And after that, Becky was able to manhandle slam Liv Morgan on the apron, causing Liv to roll down, both feet touching the floor, eliminated. So Becky Lynch is a new WWE World Women's Champion. Obviously, flowers to Becky. She's one of the best. She deserves it. She's absolutely like sick to watch. And I don't know. Let's just see what they decide to do with her character or with their storylines, especially with Rhea Ripley coming back in 3 months. Alexa Bliss, a possible return. Also, you have Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is also coming back from an injury. When she's coming back, I'm not sure, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with Becky's character. After that. All right. Well, hey, guys, don't go anywhere. Next, we have our WWE NXT preview. We're going to talk a little bit about NXT Spring Breakin. We have a couple of title bouts. We have a really good matches lined up for tonight. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind?
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just kind of talk about, we just recently talked about how Monday Night Raw preview and how Damian Priest is pretty fed up with the Judgment Day, our new WWE World's Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. We also have Gunther's return, Chad Gable's comments towards Sami Zayn. Just a bunch of stuff. If you didn't watch it, always you can always go back and check out the segment. Yeah. But before we move on to our next topic, we're going to talk about our tips and donations link. We get a number of questions that come in during the show from viewers like you. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net with your questions. Just put your questions up on top so I can see it. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation. Tell me what you like. Tell me what you don't like. Tell me what you want to talk about. Your predictions, what you think you want to see on Monday Night Raw moving forward. Also, what maybe some draft speculations. It's just like the NFL draft. It's always cool to see somebody else's mock draft. So don't be, don't be shy to send it in the comments section or, chat with me right here, right now. I'm right here. I'm a turkey. Baste me. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, so let's move on to our WWE NXT preview. Tonight's going to be night one of the Spring Breakin, which is a 2-week special event, which I think is pretty cool. Kind of having that like WrestleMania kind of feel. Like night one, obviously you have tonight, and then you have night two, which is going to take place during draft week. So I don't know if they're going to hold a couple of draft picks. They draft there on NXT night two, but I know I don't know. It's going to be the build up or what they're trying to do. I think I trust Shawn Michaels. I trust the Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels in his decision and whatever he wants to do because he's that damn good. He's the man. He's Shawn freaking Michaels, man. He knows what he's doing. First we're gonna talk about we have a nice little beach brawl between Sol Ruca and Blair Davenport. Sol Ruca is officially done with Blair Davenport. She's so pissed off at her. She totally wants to just end her career, wants to send her out, on a stretcher in Orlando. And I don't know, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Like I said before, I feel like Sol Ruca is one of those young women's NXT division talents that they're kind of grooming to kind of be the next NXT World Women's Champion, which wouldn't be a shock because, Roxanne Perez is leaving. Of course, you have Lola Vice and you have Natalia, and then you have Valkyrie that might make Paxley going out of Thea Hale. Just basically a lot of talent, especially in terms of and also you have the Women's North American NXT Championship coming out too. So honestly, right now it's going to be a good time to become an WWE NXT fan. So don't be afraid to click on that clicker and give it a watch. All right. Moving on, we also have our WWE NXT Underground signing between Natalia and Lola Vice. In recent episodes of WWE NXT, Lola Vice has just been running rampant, and Natalia wants to kind of set her straight, kind of show her to get, just have respect. Have respect for other superstars. Don't feel like, you're the only one in this world, because at the end of the day, people with that mentality have to accept that's not true. Like you have to, accommodate for other people. You have to, try to support your fellow wrestlers and stuff like that. And Lola Vice obviously doing whatever she wants when she wants. And honestly, I hope Natalia like gives her a nice, ass whooping right there, bro. But they're signing the contract for NXT Underground, which is going to be pretty good. And next we have the no quarter catch crew against the D'Angelo family. I like more than two guys in a tag team. Like I said before, I feel like WWE should definitely adapt to Ring of Honor and AEW in terms of having like a trios a trios tag team gold or something like that. I think that would have been super, super cool. Like, think about it. Like, you had the NWO, you had the Four Horsemen, you also had in modern days, you have New Day, you had Evolution, where there's three guys that can participate and fight each other. You could have had Imperium, you could have had Gunther, Vinci, and Kaiser going at it. I don't know. It's just usually when there's like a three-person thing. Like also like in the Judgment Day, you could have tag team champions like McDonough, Mysterio, and Finn Balor. But who am I to say what's up? So, anyways, that's gonna be a good match. It's gonna be a good match. Any match that the D'Angelo family is in, I usually sit my sitter, eyes glued to the TV because they have a bunch of talent. So it should be pretty awesome, which I think is eventually going to end into like a Heritage Cup match between Tony D'Angelo and one of the members of the No Quarter Catch crew. So I think that's what they're kind of like. That's going to be one of the night two stipulations. Someone's going to go on and fight Tony. And I honestly think Tony D'Angelo is probably going to get the win because he did not win. He didn't beat Ilya Dragunov at NXT Stand and Deliver, but he put on a hell of a match. He put on a hell of a match. The Don is ready to hold the brand to a higher stake. And I think he does it spring break in this 2-week event. So, make sure you watch that. We also have our WWE NXT Women's Championship triple threat match between Roxanne Perez, Lyra Valkyrie, and also Tatum Paxley. Right now, you kind of have Valkyrie and Paxley like going at each other, totally hating each other. And then you kind of have Roxanne Perez that's kind of maybe step aside and kind of let these two women kill each other. But honestly, that would probably be the best strategy. Because, like I said before, usually when there's a triple threat match, that's usually a chance or an opportunity for the champion to roll something up, steal someone else's credit and make the cover. Well, that's just how triple threat matches work in the WWE or in wrestling in just general. Like what happened with Logan Paul and Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, like that, like that. But that very much could be a very similar situation that we see tonight on WWE NXT Spring Break in Night 1. All right, next we have our NXT Championship match. We have Ilya Dragunov against Trick Williams. This is essentially a win or go home, like way home for Trick Williams. If Trick Williams does not win tonight, he's going to have to leave NXT. Ultimately, I don't think that's going to happen, although it is night one. I feel like since it is night one, there could be a possibility. I don't think he would lose, though. Like, why would he lose? Because Ilya Dragunov has declared himself in the WWE Draft. Not a lot of people would do that. Maybe both of them leave. That would be crazy. But ultimately, I thought to myself, and I still have this mentality that I think Trick Williams is this next superstar for NXT. Like I said before, you had the NXT going to the CW in October. You kind of need to have talent like Trick Williams. And honestly, this match is going to change the landscape of WWE NXT. It very much could be. It very much will. Because one of these champions are going to represent the brand and probably have a nice little reign. Ilya Dragunov had his reign. He was a dominant champion, absolutely dominant champion, and very impressive, very impressive. And then now you have Trick Williams, who's kind of like on the precipice. He's like right there. He's just ready to take that next step, and he's on top of the castle. He's on top of the temple. He's on top of the, king of the hill, whatever euphemism or metaphor you want to use. dealer's choice. But ultimately, I like Trick Williams. He's gonna whoop that trick tonight. And honestly, I can't wait to watch it. It's airing right now. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to give you guys live updates. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoy WWE NXT because I always do. I always do. Definitely something that, young talent, bam, always the coolest thing. Also, something that I really hope that does, although it will happen, I feel like WWE NXT, I kind of looked at a projected draft for NXT and it said it was going to be drafting Authors of Pain, Ivar, Natalia, and all that's cool. Karen Cross, all that's cool. Like I get that. They bring those superstars back to NXT. That's kind of like a big like woohoo cool. But in reality, I'm- and that's the reason why I feel like a lot of people think that um, NXT is kind of like the leftovers of the Monday Night Raw and SmackDown because it's always kind of been that way. But honestly, I want to see them make a big pick. I want to see NXT to make a giant pick and everyone's like jaws on the ground. I'm really hoping for that. Hopefully they'll give it to me. All right. Well, so hey, don't go anywhere. Thank you so much for sticking with me for my first two segments about my Monday Night Raw review and our WWE NXT Spring Breakin preview. And so don't go anywhere. We have our segment three. We're going to talk about AEW Dynasty review. Exciting. So hey, don't go anywhere.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Recently, we reflected on what happened on Monday Night Raw. We talked about what to expect in terms of WWE NXT Spring Breakin, a 2-week event. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. I like it. I like it a lot. But moving on to our next segment, we're talking about our AEW Dynasty review. I heard AEW, the Dynasty numbers were pretty good. Very, very good. You saw top talent. You didn't really see like a dud match, although a lot of people claim that the AEW FTR championship was kind of like one of the worst matches they've seen in a long time. Obviously, we'll dive deep on into it, but yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So we had Trent Beretta defeating Mike Sindel. And we also have Katsuri Shibata and Orange Cassidy defeating the Shane Taylor Promotions. I know that was big because the Shane Taylor Promotions have, they've had their success. They've been killing it on Ring of Honor. Maybe they can't step it up when it comes to AEW, perhaps. No, I'm just kidding. But next, you had the Bullet Club Gold defeating the Acclaim. The AEW Trios Championship and the Ring of Honor World Six-Man Tag Team Championships are now unified, which is no surprise. Honestly, very, very impressed by Switchblade Jay White. Very, very, very impressed. I hope he, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I hope he moves to WWE because honestly, the way he's wrestling right now in the, in AEW, Ring of Honor, et cetera, et cetera. I think it's perfect for him. I think it's perfect for him, and I think bringing him to WWE would slow him down more than it would propel his career. So, I think he's in a great place right now. Now, obviously, you can always propel your career. Obviously, like I know a lot of people say that WWE is kind of like the steeple, which it's not completely wrong. It's not completely wrong. But ultimately, I think Switchblade is better off, where he is at right now. All right. Well, yeah. Anyways, moving on, we also had Kazuchika Okada defeating the Bastard Pack. Ultimately, it was a pretty good match, but I really thought that it was gonna be like a little more like no, it was high flying. Maybe I'm just being picky. Maybe I'm just being picky. But hey, I'm the host, so I can be as picky as I want. No, I'm just kidding. Next we have Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black. Uh, um, Black Mist, Malachi Black blew Black Mist into Adam Copeland's face, ultimately getting the win, causing Eddie Kingston, Adam Copeland, and Mark Briscoe fans three. I'm very those three guys I'm huge fans of. So very very cool. Obviously Malachi Black doing his thing and just doing whatever he wants. Next, we have Willow of Nightingale defeats Julia Hart for the AEW TBS Championship. This match kind of got like a lot of scrutiny around the professional wrestling world because a lot of people complained that this match was only 6 minutes long. And for something that was being built up for such a long time, and you only have it last 6 minutes, I don't know about that. A lot of people have speculation saying that Julia Hart is hurt, that she's injured. That could very much play a part of it, very very much so, and it would make honestly a whole bunch of sense. We could, a whole bunch of sense of her dropping the title to Willow at AEW Dynasty, or you could have had, just people buttering up, but getting ready for the Mercedes Moné Double or Nothing TBS Championship #1 contenders match that she's going to fight against Willow of Nightingale, the last person she fought against during her injury, where she essentially got pushed off the top rope, landed on her foot, broke her foot, was told she could probably never wrestle again. Her make her comeback story, yada yada yada. It's gonna happen. Double or Nothing for the TBS Championship. So excited for that. All right. Next we have Roderick Strong retains his international championship against Kyle O'Reilly. Both of these guys were in the Undisputed Era back in the WWE. Really, really loved it. You had O'Reilly and Fish as the NXT World Tag Team Champions. You had Roderick Strong as the North American Champion. Of course, you had Adam Cole Baby as your NXT World Champion, which was kind of like the glory days of WWE NXT. I thought that was, super, super cool. Next, we have this match. This match that got, kind of a lot of criticism here. Even the fans themselves chanted Chris Jericho to please retire. Please retire. Please retire. Like it was crazy. It was kind of awkward to be honest. Well, Chris Jericho did it. He defeated Hook for the FTW Championship. It was a physical battle, a lot of violence. To be honest, I watched highlights of the match, and Chris, he's looking a little old. But what do you expect? He's looking a little old. He's looking a little slow, taking his matches more very slowly and very thoroughly because you don't want to pull anything. You don't want to get hurt, especially in a hardcore match. Especially in a hardcore match. Ultimately, you saw, Chris Jericho do a couple Judas, didn't put down Hook. It took a baseball bat to the head for Chris Jericho to become new AEW FTW champion Chris Jericho. And please retire. Is that fair to say to Chris Jericho after all he's kind of did for AEW? I think the fans were kind of in the wrong with that. And I'm not saying that because I have bias because I watched Chris Jericho growing up in the Attitude Era, and I even saw Chris Jericho kind of wrestle in WCW a little bit. But to be honest, I don't know. Like, I feel like Chris Jericho has so many outs where he could probably just up and leave and go to the WWE, but he's not going to do that. He's going to stay low to, the AEW. Well, I don't know. Who knows after what happens to what happened on Saturday. All right, next we have the timeless Tony Storm defeating Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship. So Tony Storm retains. She retained. She's very impressive. Obviously, there had to be some kind of gray area where I think she grabbed the referee's leg or something like that, and it kind of threw off Thunder Rosa. But I kind of really thought that this was Thunder Rosa's time. She gave up the AEW World Women's Championship. She had to relinquish it, and I don't know, just kind of it was crazy. I really thought that she was going to pick up the victory here. All in all, great match, great battle. Not should never ever be ashamed of that. But it would have been cool to see Thunder Rosa get, the AEW World Women's Championship back around her waist. Of course, in my opinion, all the time. Next we have, Will Ospreay, Daniel Bryan. This match, I guess, got a lot of praises around the wrestling community, saying that this is a wrestling match of the year in all of wrestling, including WWE. So I guess it was an instant classic. But this was surprisingly one of the matches that I have not yet watched. I can't wait to see it. Will Ospreay is very, very impressive. You have Bryan Danielson kind of, going toward the end of his career. But and then, like I said, he kind of had that kayfabe injury, but ultimately he was okay. Even Will Ospreay said that he was going to retire his move, the Storm Driver, just so it doesn't, injure anybody again. So, next we have the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks defeated FTR in a ladder match. You saw Jack Perry came out, ultimately kind of giving them the boost that they needed to win. I am not a huge fan of this decision, but I guess the match was really good until that moment. Like, I kind of knew that the Elite, the EVPs, were going to kind of become like a championship. And also, I just I don't know why people like the Young Bucks so much. I don't think they're that special. Obviously if you're on a wrestling brand, it's cool. But I don't know. Like, I would have rather saw FTR kind of pick up the win here. But that could be like me kind of being a little biased because I'm like, oh great, now the Elite have all the titles and I saw it coming. I know these guys would do this, like, yeah, like, maybe it could be me being a little oversensitive. But the Young Bucks, they did it. They are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions, thanks to a nice little assist by Jack Perry. So, good for them. All right, next we have our AEW main event, the Submission Machine, Samoa Joe fighting Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland ultimately picked up the victory. Very, very happy and proud for Swerve. He did it all on his own. Stayed patient. Well, not completely patient, but he went out. He antagonized Joe. He got under his skin, got in his head, and not a lot of people could do that to Samoa Joe. Not very little people in the wrestling community could say that they had that advantage over Samoa Joe. And Swerve did it. He was able to Swerve stomp him. Pretty good. He took like two of them. But it was a great match. Tough battle. These guys literally look like they beat the crap out of each other whenever you see that in a wrestling promotion. Super awesome. Swerve Strickland is the first ever AEW African American to hold the world title, which is also a nice little milestone to have because, he deserves it. He went from rapping to wrestling. Quite a transition, quite a jump, quite a career change. And he's standing on top of the AEW world right now as your world heavyweight champion. So, honestly, throwing flowers to Swerve Strickland. I think I think he deserves it. I think he deserves it. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with his character from now on. I think that Samoa Joe is probably going to invoke his rematch clause, but right now, Swerve, just enjoy it while you got it, my man. Enjoy it while you got it. Well, hey, don't go anywhere. Next, we're going to talk about WWE Draft. We're going to talk about top prospects and kind of dive into like a little analysis of these superstars, and also talk about what kind of entertainment factor they can bring to your show. So, hey, don't go anywhere.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about, our first segment, we talked about our WWE Raw review. And our second segment, we kind of jumped off talking about our WWE NXT Spring Breakin preview. And third segment, we talked about AEW Dynasty, a couple of championship changes, also a lot of retention. So, very, very cool. Very, very awesome. What they're going to do with Swerve Strickland as the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be super dope. So next, we're going to talk about our WWE Draft top prospects. Obviously, you have the WWE Draft coming up this week in about 3 days. 3 days. It starts Friday. So yeah, of course, it happens during draft week for the NFL. Kind of like, get the fans, in that draft kind of mood, you know what I mean? Because you still have the second, third, yada yada rounds of the NFL draft, but then you also have the WWE draft, so it should be pretty cool. Let's kind of let's look at some of these superstars that could potentially be drafted to either Raw or SmackDown. Or maybe they might get drafted to WWE NXT. It's a little bit of a push, but who knows? We'll see what's up. First, we have Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov, very, very, like I said before, very impressive, very dominant. He's a technical wrestler, fundamentals kind of guy. Um, where I think he would be good, honestly, I think um, since I believe Cody Rhodes is probably going to SmackDown. See, once again, I don't know who has the first pick. I'm assuming SmackDown does because it started on SmackDown. But honestly, I think Dragunov, he should be on Raw. I feel like he would be perfect on Monday Night Raw. Kind of that red, kind of like that blood, and like you see red when you're ready to fight. And I could see him potentially being like a Sami Zayn, next competitor or something like that. So I think that's where he would, fit pretty well. Next, we have Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes has not declared himself for the draft just yet, but I know they might keep him in NXT to kind of have a nice little, feud with his old best friend, brother, tag team partner, Trick Williams. But if he makes it onto the main roster, this is definitely someone who can just make an impact the moment he steps into the ring. Absolutely, 100%. It'd be nice to kind of see him. This is like a huge jump, but wouldn't it be pretty cool to see the A-lister, not the A-lister, that's the Miz. Um, basically Logan Paul. Logan Paul. It'd be cool to see Logan Paul kind of fight Carmelo Hayes. Both of these guys are larger than life. Both of these guys are like, those huge flashy kind of guys. You have your bodyguards, you have your sunglasses, you wear your suit and stuff like that. So I can definitely see Carmelo Hayes taking on Logan Paul for the United States Championship. So if I was SmackDown, if I had a chance to draft Carmelo Hayes, I would draft this man. Do it. Just make it like Nike and just do it. Or throw yourself in the river and just go with the flow. Go with the flow of the WWE draft. It wouldn't surprise me if Trick Williams is like maybe he stays on NXT. Perhaps maybe he does. I think he will. Honestly, I think 1,010% he will. All right. Yeah, Carmelo, my man, Carmelo Hayes. Obviously a huge, you know, he's really, really good. Very, very good. Next, we have the Bloodline. We have the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa. We also have Tamatonga. And then you have Jacob Fatu just right around the corner. That's probably going to either debut. It's been speculated that he's going to debut tonight or on Friday Night SmackDown. Should be interesting. Should be awesome to see. Can't wait to see what happens here. But ultimately, I think that they would probably wind up on Raw. I doubt on SmackDown because it looks like Nick Aldis is ultimately very, very, very frustrated with the bloodline, and he just, he wants to control his show, and I don't think he can do that very much with Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga as, kind of the people there. So, well, not, kind of like those guys that you can't really trust. Kind of like those guys that are going to take over your show and just like completely dominate. But I don't know. Could be something to look forward to or something interesting to talk about. So, anyways. So it looks like technology is failing me once again. So hey, looks like we're gonna have to freestyle it. You guys are gonna have to look at my beautiful face once again. So, anyways, moving on. So next we have we have Bailey. We have Bailey. Let's talk about Bailey. She's the WWE Women's Champion. Obviously, I think that she's going to continue to hold the title for a pretty long time. I think she belongs on SmackDown. I really think that she belongs on SmackDown, kind of like, maintaining that Tiffany Stratton, Naomi kind of like triple threat match that I hope that they're kind of buttering up for a Backlash. So, hey, it should be pretty cool. Next, you have the Awesome Truth. I love the Awesome Truth once again. but I just feel like that they're not going to be the ones to kind of like, make it past anywhere else. Next, we have Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss, I've been anticipating for her to come back for a pretty long time. Yesterday, I thought it was going to be the right time, but it wasn't to no avail. Didn't know this, but WWE SmackDown is going to take place in Cleveland, Ohio. Still Ohio. I know I'm putting a lot of emphasis around Ohio, because it's like her home state. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't be no surprise if she makes her debut then. But should be pretty interesting to see what they do with Alexa Bliss when she comes back. All right, next we have Bianca and Jade. Bianca and Jade. Honestly, this is kind of like if they come as like a tag team, this is like a sneaky like first round pick right here. I would definitely, if I was the general manager of Raw or SmackDown. Obviously, you would love seeing Cody Rhodes, and then you have Damian Priest heating up. So I feel like you can't really, you could lose by not getting Cody, but then again, you can make up for it having Jade and Belair, and then drafting Damian Priest next. So honestly, it would be pretty awesome to kind of see uh, SmackDown keep Jade and Belair, but only time will tell. Next, we have Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, he's the Intercontinental Champion. He's obviously the ultimate underdog. He's like he's the David and Goliath story. He took down Gunther at WrestleMania 40 against all odds. But I think he looks to me, oh God, like he seems to me more on the Raw brand. I don't know. Whenever I think of Sami Zayn, I just think he looks better in red. He looks better on the red brand. So honestly, I think he's going to do great for Monday Night Raw. He's going to continue to be there, kill it, put on great shows, and just overall be an amazing wrestler like Sami Zayn is. So, next we have Natalya. Natalya has pretty much left the taste in our mouth that she is going to WWE NXT. So not really much to talk about there. Next we have Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, super impressive. He's had a bunch of squash matches lately, but you see him on WWE NXT. He's ready to kind of be a player. I don't know if he belongs on Raw. Maybe sticking with the red with the whole Wolf Doll things, maybe. But also, I don't know if Baron Corbin's going to join him with the Wolf Dogs tag team. If that's the case, that would light up the WWE tag team division like right away. But I could see Braun Breaker, going to SmackDown, or honestly, probably going to SmackDown. Next, you have Tiffany Stratton. I don't really think that she's going to go anywhere because her feud with Bayley and Naomi at the moment. And honestly, she belongs on SmackDown. She belongs on SmackDown. Cable television, broadcast television on Fox 11. Huge brand, huge channel. You need someone like Tiffany Stratton to kind of, stir the pot a little bit. She's such a good heel. She's playing the heels so well. Former WWE NXT Women's Champion is, putting the wrestling world on fire in terms of Raw or SmackDown, wherever she, gets drafted to. I hope, they do right by her and, have a nice little booking. And next you have Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch recently won the WWE World Women's Champion. I love Becky. I think of the world for her, but she belongs on Raw. She belongs on Raw. She hasn't been on SmackDown for God, she hasn't been on. Oh no, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that because she was on SmackDown when she led the charge at Survivor Series, where Nia Jax basically almost broke her nose, if not did break her nose. So honestly, wouldn't surprise. Becky is one of those superstars where she would be great anywhere. So kind of flip floppy. Kind of balance beam here. I don't know who to pick. But if I had to, Monday Night Raw. So yeah, that's what I would pick. Like I said, we talked Damian Priest. Damian Priest, I think he belongs on Raw. He's the WWE World's Heavyweight Champion. Definitely this guy's heading toward a babyface. He's heading toward babyface. You had that thing going on where they were talking about him 2 days after WrestleMania, kind of achieving his boyhood dream of going to the Bronx, his hometown, and rooting for his favorite players, his favorite team, the New York Yankees. And he even asked Aaron Judge if he could coin the phrase "All rise" for the Judgment Day. And Aaron Judge was cool with it. Aaron Judge, obviously very, very impressive for all you baseball fans. If you know, you know. So, yeah, honestly, I think that's going to be pretty big for WWE to keep Damian Priest on Raw. Wouldn't surprise me. I doubt he'll go to SmackDown, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. Next, we have Damage Control. Damage Control, you still have Io Sky, still ready to fight, Dakota Kai, and you also have the Kabuki Warriors. I ultimately think that they will not break them up. I think it'd be kind of dumb if they do. But ultimately, I think wherever the Kabuki Warriors land, you'll see Bianca Belair and Jade land there too, because I feel like WWE is ready to, make Jade and Bianca the new WWE World Women's Tag Team Champions. Or perhaps they try to fight each other. They can't get on the same page because sometimes, no matter how talented you are, you can put talent into a room together. The chemistry doesn't always develop. And maybe that creates a nice little ripple effect where we can see those two in the ring at the same time against each other. I think that would be pretty cool. But as of now, they're a tag team. They're going to go wherever the Kabuki Warriors, no, wherever, yeah, Kabuki Warriors and Damage Control goes. So, excited to see that. Next, we have A-Town Down Under. A-Town Down Under, like I said about the Awesome Truth. I believe the Awesome Truth will go to SmackDown, and I believe the A-Town Down Under will go to Monday Night Raw, just because you kind of have that, you have the Grayson Waller effect, his nice, his little show, and you kind of have these guys cutting promos. For that, for an organization or for a show or promotion to kind of have that under their belt, they need more time. And Monday Night Raw is a 3-hour show, and I think that's perfect for A-Town Down because A-Town Clown. I'm just kidding. No, but they need time. They cut good promos. They're jerks. They're like in your face kind of jerks. And I think they belong on the red brand. So you can see them on Monday Night Raw. Next, we have Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez, I feel like wouldn't get a title shot right away. Maybe she comes in because she does have kind of beef with Becky from NXT. So maybe that could be like her first challenger. But honestly, in terms of storylines and in terms of like projections and like future bookings, I think it would kind of make sense for her to go on Raw because I don't like I said before, 3-hour show. You have Monday Night Raw kind of being the backbone in terms of the women's division because they have more time. SmackDown, I think you only get like maybe 1 or 2 women's matches. Most of the time it is 2. Most of the time it is 2. But honestly, Roxanne Perez, I think she belongs on Monday Night Raw. I think she would make a damage. She would make a bang like real quick. You know what I mean? Next, we have Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley, when she comes back, definitely belongs on Raw. You kind of have that brutality, you kind of have that red, which, like I said before, I think Bailey's going to stay on SmackDown. I don't think they would take the future SummerSlam storyline of Rhea Ripley fighting Becky Lynch or whoever is going to be the WWE World Women's Champion at SummerSlam. So, should be interesting to see where they do with that. Next, we have CM Punk. CM Punk, this is going to be huge. And I did have speculation, and I remember talking about it in a prior podcast. It'd be super interesting, super cool to see him go down. Not down. See, it's like such a habit for me to say go down to NXT. It'd be interesting for me to see NXT draft him because he spent a lot of time in the locker room with these WWE NXT superstars already. He feels comfortable in NXT. They need somebody moving forward going to the CW. They need that star. Obviously, yes, you do have Trick Williams, but besides Trick, especially if Carmelo Hayes leaves, Braun Breaker, Baron Corbin could very much, hurt the brand. So it'd be nice to see CM Punk go. And with CM Punk leaving, you also have Drew McIntyre. They will not separate these two. They will not. And even if they do, Drew McIntyre is going to invade the other show to attack CM Punk when he's, good and ready to fight. So, Drew McIntyre, I don't really have a show for him. I just think he's going to go wherever CM Punk goes, in that. So, yeah, next, last, but definitely not least, you have Cody Rhodes. I say this guy for last because obviously he's kind of like the Caleb Williams of the WWE Draft. With great talent comes great responsibility. No, I'm just kidding. No, with great talent, you kind of see kind of like where these people are going to go. Like, great Caleb Williams has been determined to go to the Chicago Bears for like almost like 4 or 5 months now. Kind of like Cody Rhodes. I think he's destined to go on Friday Night SmackDown and kind of take over Roman's spot there on Fox 11, which kind of reminds me that they announced that Roman Reigns was indefinitely out of the WWE, so you will not be hearing Roman Reigns being drafted on Friday night or Monday night. The reason why they did that was ultimately like to get the fans to realize, like, look, Roman Reigns isn't going to be in this draft. Usually when Roman comes back, he comes on his own time, which, is right for Roman Reigns. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's done enough for the company to kind of come back at his own time. He deserves a long time off. He's doing a passion project right now in Hollywood. He's testing out his acting skills. So, honestly, it's going to be a great draft. It's going to be a great draft, but we will not see Roman Reigns being drafted to either Raw, SmackDown, or NXT. So, you can put that to bed right now. I know. So sad. So sad. I can't wait to see the Tribal Chief come back. I love the Tribal Chief. He was one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, when he became like heel for the longest time, I was begging wrestling. I was absolutely begging wrestling to make Roman Reigns a heel. Like, one match. Like, what if Roman Reigns wins one match and turns to the crowd and just flips them the bird? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be absolutely shocking. Like, and it would make for great success, which the Bloodline storyline was very much so a very great success. So, yeah. Well, that was my show. Hope you guys liked it. Thank you for tuning in to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Please remember that your sport means a lot to us. Peace, love, and positivity, baby. Leave a positive review. Remember to use Superman punch that like and subscribe button to and leave a positive review. Comment, talk. We want to hear our fans. We want to hear the voices. We want to hear what you guys want to hear. Like, you guys are the audience. Ultimately, you're the lifeblood of the bloodline of this GSMC Sports Podcasting Network. So we also invite you guys to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, /X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. Like I said before, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan already, we have podcasts, and more podcasts, especially sports. We have, Jeremy and TJ on sports. We have Kenneth on football. We have Nelson on basketball. Basketball's heating up, obviously, the NBA playoffs. So yeah, don't be afraid to expand your horizons, your podcasting horizons, and be a part of something that's going to be absolutely phenomenal and great. So yeah, don't miss out on the bloodline, bro. Thank you once again, guys. Always beautiful to see you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night, and ultimately have a phenomenal day.
Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to